What is the crack, everyone? It's Ollie from B2B Sports here. It's a little bit solemn, the mood today. The Vikings lost in Detroit at Ford Field, 9-31 yesterday. The Vikings did it again. The famous football phrase, it's the hope that kills you. It certainly is with the Minnesota Vikings. Prime time, Sunday night football, number one seed on the line, NFC North on the line, and yeah, they shat the bed. I think it's fair to say probably the most underwhelming performance of the 2024 Vikings season. The offense in particular was just outplayed, just didn't look up for it. Sam Darnold was the most inaccurate he's been all season long. Kevin O'Connell, the play calling, the decision making, right guard and the special teams, the offensive line, even Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and Hockenson to a point should put the blame on themselves for this one. They just didn't show up. They didn't show up when the Vikings, when the fans needed the Vikings to. And yeah, we're going to have to do this the hard way now if you want to get to the Super Bowl. As always, whack the like button, give my channel a subscription. It means the world to me. We've hit 51 subscribers, which was my total for 2024. I can't thank you guys enough. The Minnesota Vikings crew, the fan base, the community has come up clutch once again. You guys are making this really, really fun for me, and I'm despite the loss, I really enjoy making these videos, and it's something, a career that I want to pursue for sure. Any feedback or any direction of where you'd like these videos to go, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a comment down below. But yeah, the Vikings and Chelsea right now are causing me a lot of headache, but it's the way it is. You love them, win, lose or draw, don't you? But yeah, thank you very much guys for the support. Let's get back on to the video. Well, the game was set. It's been talked about for weeks and weeks and weeks. The build up to this game was something that I've never witnessed before in the regular season as a Vikings fan. Both 14-2 teams, with it all on the line. And it was disappointing, wasn't it? It was, the classic meme of the Vikings fan just laying flat down on the concrete, on the tarmac with the rain pouring on his back. It was just one of those again, wasn't it? Vikings fans for way longer than me have experienced these feelings time and time again. And from the start, it was just a cagey affair, wasn't it? From both sides, in all honesty. Yeah, it was cagey. It wasn't what people predicted. I think people, predicted that this shootout, it turned into that for the Lions towards the end of the game. But for the large majority of the game, the Vikings were in this. And unfortunately, they blew it for themselves on a number of occasions. The defense showed up and put their foot onto the turf early. Grenard with a big stop. On offense, it sort of was the theme of the game. It was scrappy. It was tense. Darnold kept trying to escape the pocket, but there was nothing there. The Lions were playing man coverage, which probably surprised a lot of people. It was a ballsy move considering the injuries that they've had to go man coverage with the likes of Jefferson, Addison, but it worked for them throughout the whole game. The Vikings couldn't get anything going. They had to give the ball back to Detroit. Of course, Detroit go for it on 4th and 5. They get it. Jahmyr Gibbs starts his TD sort of bonanza, his streak in this game. A 25-yard rush into the end zone. Darnold showed signs early on that he wasn't quite with it. He wasn't quite switched on. Took another tough sack. Zadarius Smith with it as well. I think all Vikings fans are completely fed up with Zadarius Smith by now. So it was rough to see that one. Then he had an overthrown ball to Hockenson down the middle. It just wasn't quite working out for him. I don't know if it was the big lights, the big Sunday night game. I think the blitz game by Detroit was just relentless. The offensive line couldn't keep Sam Darnold clean at all. I'm surprised he didn't come out of that game with a bit more of a serious injury, to be honest, because they were getting home time after time after time again. The second quarter again started off with a big defensive hit. AVG, what a bloke. That hit was insane. It was a clean hit, but it sort of shocked everyone. Everyone in the crowd just sort of went, oh, like, you know, they felt that one back at home, and followed up by the Jonathan Grenard sack. It gave the Vikings good field position, which unfortunately again we weren't able to properly capitalise on. The offensive red zone performance today was nothing short of shambolic, to be honest with you. On 11 red zone visits, they only scored 3 points. That's just absolutely shambolic. It's not good enough. I mean, it's easy to say in hindsight, but Kevin O'Connell's game plan seemed to change slightly. Obviously, you know what Dan Campbell's going to do on the other side of the ball. He's going to go for it on fourth down every time, pretty much, regardless. And it seemed that KOC started to sort of follow that pattern and chase the game a little bit. Again, it's easy to say in hindsight, just kick the points, you know, you stay within in the game for as long as possible. But time after time after time, going for it on fourth down in the red zone, the amount of pressure that was put on Sam Darnold on the offense just seemed to grow with play after play after play. And that pressure seemed to spread to right guard, who missed a kick late on as well. Regardless of what was happening on offense, the defense continued to step up like we've seen many, many times this season. Metellus with a tip, Ivan Pace with the INT. The Vikings won the turnover battle 2-0 in this game as well. It just proves how much of a disaster it was on offense to not even be close in this game towards the end. I don't like blaming the refs as well. I think that's a bit of a cop-out move, but there were some questionable calls. You can't deny that at all. There was no intentional grounding called on Jared Goff in their end zone. I think that should have been a safety, guaranteed. Just a very sus call. And these are the things that aren't going to go your way at home. Unfortunately, in the NFL, I think more so than football, to be honest, big calls in big away games don't go your way. We've seen it time and time again with the Chiefs as well. With all the technology that's in the game of the NFL, these calls should be able to be challenged more often. You know, it's similar to like a scoring play. Every single scoring play is reviewed in the NFL, and it should be a case across the board, because too many things are being missed. There was another face mask call that was missed on Darnold as well. They just really need to get their act together. It's pretty embarrassing for the NFL to be missing these calls consistently on a week-by-week basis. The end of the second quarter was a complete disaster for the Vikings and the special teams. Right guard did well initially to hit one from 50 to get the Vikings within 1 point. But then the kickoff, with this happened before, I think the week before that, right guard seems to try and change the direction of his kick. He's trying to hit the corners of the end zones to try to guarantee that it's not going to be returned. But in doing so, he kicks the ball out of bounds, gives the Lions great field position on the 40. About 15 seconds left, was there? 20 odd seconds left. That's too much time for Jared Goff. Makes a couple of big plays, and they basically null and void the Vikings field goal and score one themselves with a couple of seconds left. It was just embarrassing. It wasn't good. Poor decision making from special teams coordinator and right guard. You've got if that's the call, you've got to get those right. And in big games like this, big playoff games, essentially this was a playoff game in itself. That's the difference between winning and losing. In the third quarter, Aaron Jones was questionable to return. I think he came into the game in the third quarter. But we've seen with Jones a couple of times, he's been in and out of the locker room, sort of struggling with a couple of niggles here and there. But he opened up the game for Cam Akers, who, fair play to Cam Akers, big boy, 58-yard rushing attempt. Again, it led to nothing. It led to nothing for the Vikings. It's just absolutely deflating, not only for Akers himself, but for the whole offense to not be able to put 7 on the board after that big run. And we saw yet another fourth down incompletion. At this point, you're just sort of giving up hope. And then Harrison Smith with his 37th career interception. Absolutely love to see that. And gives the ball in great field position back to the Vikings. What a strange game this was for the first 3 quarters. On Detroit's defensive side of the ball, they picked up another tough injury. Darnold, who was having a great game, locking down Justin Jefferson, seemed to be carted off the field. Doesn't look good for him. Looked like he was clutching his calf, sort of Achilles area. Another tough one, which makes it even more infuriating that the Vikings couldn't get anything going on offense. There were so many close interceptions from Darnold as well. It wasn't funny. It wasn't pretty at all. You even saw at one point Jefferson trying to give Sam Darnold a pep talk on the sidelines to say this ain't over, and it wasn't over. It was still a 1-point game at that stage. A long drive down the field from Detroit. Of course they go for it on 4th down. Another Gibbs TD. Goff just reads the Vikings blitz, and it was an easy touchdown in the end. Into the 4th quarter now. Any hopes of a Vikings comeback probably rested solely on the defense, to be honest. It was so close. We were so close to another AVG pick 6. He had it in his hands. He just couldn't claw it in. He would have been clear as day as well. That would have put the Vikings 1 point behind, or if they would have gone for 2. On level terms, but it wasn't to be. It's the momentum swung completely the other way. Gibbs gets his hat-trick TD. They go up 9-24. Again, another offensive drive led to nothing, and a 4th Gibbs TD to completely put the nail in the coffin. And honestly, there's something really triggering to do not a victory knee, but what would you call it if it was the other way around? The kneel of defeat, or whatever you want to call it. It's just embarrassing, isn't it? It's just actually embarrassing. So there you have it. The Vikings' fate in the playoffs is sealed. The Lions get the 1 seed, deservedly so, to be honest. They played pretty well. You got to hand it to them. The Vikings just didn't help themselves at all in that game. I'd love to have seen a competitive game. I'd love to have seen the Vikings score an offensive touchdown and make it close, but it wasn't to be. Vikings now go on the road to the Rams. The Rams lost yesterday, so that means we go on the road to LA, who we've already lost to in LA this season, so that'll be fun. It's just the most Vikings thing ever, 14-3, and with 5th seed going on the road. The Rams game scares me massively. I really just don't want to be a one and done bust. Just the hate that will come the Vikings' way will be unprecedented. But one thing's for sure, if Darnold has another game like that in wildcard weekend in the playoffs, I think his fate is sealed in Minnesota. It's mad quick how opinions change in this league, but when you have a game of that magnitude and you can't get it done, unfortunately questions will be asked of you. Things can still change in the playoff proceedings. Obviously you've got Bucks playing the Commanders and you've got the Eagles playing the Packers. I expect the Eagles to beat the Packers. The Buccaneers Commanders, that's 50-50 for me, to be honest. But with the Bucks being the higher seed, if the Commanders were to beat the Bucks, Detroit would play the Commanders in the divisional round, meaning the Vikings would escape another trip to Ford Field. But if things go the seeding's way, the favourites' way, then the Vikings will meet the Detroit Lions again in 2 weeks, as Dan Campbell predicted at the end of the game. We can't lose to them 3 times in one season, surely, can we? I will not be looking forward to that one, that's for sure. But as a summary, it's tough to take. It's tough to take this loss when so much was on the line. It feels like a loss. It feels like we've been knocked out of the playoffs a week early, in my opinion. We'll quickly get over it. I know we will, and our heads will quickly turn to the Rams, which again we can win that game. We can do it if we're playing well. We can do it. But it's a classic Minnesota Vikings defeat. It's a classic buckle on prime time. I think the scoreline doesn't quite do it justice. We were in the game for the large majority, but yeah, it doesn't look pretty just on paper. But there we have it, guys. We go again. It's not over till it's over. I'll hopefully get another Vikings video out towards the end of the week. A bit of a preview, a bit of a playoff kind of preview prediction video. But yeah, I think this is one where we just dust ourselves down and we go again. Try and wipe it from our memory as much as physically possible. But as always, guys, thank you very much for watching and listening. Let us know your thoughts on the game down below. And we go again, boys. We go again. SKOL Vikes, and peace out.